In about an hour from now, American President Barack Obama and his wife Michelle will touch down on Indian soil. The Obamas, accompanied by a large American delegation, are expected to land in Delhi around 10 a.m. Their 2.5-day visit will begin with a ceremonial welcome by President Pranab Mukherjee at the Rashtrapti Bhavan. Barack Obama will then pay homage to Mahatma Gandhi at Rajghat and plant a sapling near the Samadhi. The Prime Minister and the President will then move to Hyderabad House for lunch, followed by bilateral talks and a joint address to the press. In the evening, Modi and Obama will meet at President Pranab Mukherjee's banquet. But clearly the big day would be tomorrow when Barack Obama will be the guest of honor at the Republic Day Parade. The images that you see on your screen are from the Palam technical area, where preparations are currently underway to receive the American President. The red carpet being laid out. The American President will be the first US President to be the chief guest at the Indian Republic Day. Former Prime Minister P.V. Narasimha Rao had invited then American President Bill Clinton to come as a guest in 1995, but Bill Clinton had at that time turned down that invitation. Those new disclosures being made by the Foreign Secretary at that time. Before boarding his aircraft, Obama sent his Republic Day greetings to President Pranab Mukherjee, saying, and I quote, "The Republic of India has nurtured the world's largest democracy since adopting its constitution 65 years ago, while honouring the country's rich and diverse cultural heritage." I want to go across first and foremost to my colleague Smita Sharma. She covers the Ministry of External Affairs for us. Ankit Tyagi is also joining us on this broadcast. Smita, take us through the key agreements that are likely to be signed during this visit. What are the big takeaways that both the delegations have been working on to ensure that the principals have something to show at the end of this 2.5-day visit?
Rahul, well, I'm standing right outside Hyderabad House, in fact, where there is a high layer of security present, and also obviously a lot of media teams that are already present outside of Hyderabad House. The two leaders really will come in here. This is a summit dialogue meeting that is happening just within a gap of 4 months. It really isn't an everyday affair when you see an American president travel to India twice in office, and also a summit meeting happening within 4 months when Narendra Modi was in Washington DC in September, and now of course Barack Obama here with Mr. Modi in Hyderabad House. The meeting starts as a working luncheon, in fact at 1 o'clock. 3 o'clock is really when we are expecting those joint remarks. No questions likely to be taken, but the big breakthrough that we are really looking at, Rahul, here is this finding a way out of the nuclear hurdle, the nuclear logjam, because that will also address in a way the trust deficit issues and also show India's seriousness in a way to mean business with the US, really. So there are in fact several options that are now on the table, and what we are learning is that the contact groups that have met already thrice in the last few weeks, including in Delhi, Vienna and London, that they have succeeded in fact in finding a breakthrough of sorts, but there will be that 1% chance of things always going haywire. Also on the Defence Pact, of course, that renewal, the Defence Pact is to be renewed for the next 10 years. Defence technology, the pact of course for defence technology to be shared between India and the US is going to be the next big ticket item. Because for Narendra Modi, growth and transformation really the two key areas where he wants more American firms to come in. The manufacturing sector, the Make in India is Modi's big ticket item that he's really looking for. So clearly, after the two leaders have made those statements today, Rahul, the joint statement might take a while because protocol-wise till the time the two leaders, they've exhausted their opportunities of meeting the one-on-one, we might not see the joint statement come out.
Okay, I want to introduce you to our guests in the studio as well. Ajay Shukla, a leading strategic affairs expert, also with us, Jaran Shankar Prasad. Welcome to the both of you. Great to have you with us. I want to go across first though to Ankit Tyagi. He's at the Palam technical area where Air Force One will be landing in a short while from now. Ankit, take our viewers through the preparations. Piyush Goyal will be the minister in waiting, a big moment for him as well. Take our viewers through what's happening at the Palam technical area this morning. Okay, give me a moment. I'm going to go across to Ankit, but I want to introduce our two guests. And starting with Ajay Shukla, on the nuclear deal, Smita says, and there's been a lot of talk about how that's the one thing American companies are really looking for the president to push through. They believe that it can't be done at a representative level, only the principals can take the decision. Do you actually see a resolution to this long-standing problem?
Well, they've been talking in London for 3 days prior to this meeting, And there have been proposals and counter proposals from both sides, and India is hoping to provide a sort of insurance cover using general insurance company that would meet the concerns of the United States companies. But the truth of the matter is that the United States is run by lawyers, and the lawyers have made it absolutely clear that a company that has been built up over 6-7 decades, Westinghouse, one of the crown jewels of the United States industry, is not going to endanger its entire future or invite bankruptcy in the event of an accident. They have to ring fence their companies against any cataclysm or nuclear holocaust. So far, the assurances that have been provided by India, from what we understand, have failed to live up to the US requirements.
Okay, Jaran Shankar Prasad, President Obama will also witness the spectacle of watching a march past, which mostly includes Russian armaments. Now, while things are changing and India is purchasing more and more weapon systems from the United States, a majority of what will walk past, drive past Rajghat will essentially be Russian armaments. What are your key expectations when it comes to defense?
See, the primary issue that seems to be under discussion is to further the concept of Make in India. And as I've read in the press in the last few days, there are many possibilities. There are possibilities of a gun factory, a howitzer factory being set up by Saab or by BAE, an American company in India, to produce artillery guns. There's also talk about putting up a plant to make small arms. The bottom line of what you've said is this, that having seen such a large variety of Russian equipment go past the Rajpath, the President of the United States must really wonder, this is a great place to do business and a great place to boost his economy, particularly in the arms trade, which is a huge trade anyway. So I think the focus would be on trying to get it to India and sell more of its armaments. Now, with this Make in India concept of our present Prime Minister, the emphasis is going to be either you completely establish a new plant here or go into technological transfer here.
But that again, Ajay, is something that the American companies aren't particularly looking forward to. From their perspective, they'd rather make it in the United States, ship it to India. Now, India insisting on transfer of technology, India insisting on Make in India, and there have been huge issues like we've seen with the planes that we wanted to buy from France. That isn't working out because they're not sure whether HAL can manufacture the planes at the same level. Do you see these problems actually getting resolved? What is the possible resolution? Because American defense companies are very wary of transferring high-end technology to India.
That's absolutely correct. There's a fine balance that everybody is trying to walk between the United States export control regime, which is the tightest in the world. The United States is crystal clear that their entire military and technological lead over the world rests on their high technology advantage, and they will safeguard that. And even if a leader, a president, a defense secretary wants to transfer technology, he will be held back by the export control regimes. Now, they've set in place the Defense Trade and Technology Initiative, this DTTI, which seeks to balance some of these concerns and to ease the transfer of high technology. But the Indian side, we are wary birds. We have had not very good relationships in the defense field and technology transfer fields in the past. And the concern on the Indian side is the American side using the DTTI as a way of bypassing normal procurement procedures and getting American arms companies in through the back door and talking about Make in India and setting up the factories, whereas the factories are producing not cutting-edge equipment but just regular run-of-the-mill equipment. The Indian side wants to make sure that they get real high technology and that the Americans find ways of bypassing their export control laws to provide us that.
No. Okay, these are images from the Mauritius Sheraton Hotel in New Delhi, where the president will be staying along with his wife Michelle at the presidential suite. A lot riding also, General Prasad, on the personal chemistry between the two leaders. The fine print of the various deals will be analyzed threadbare over the next two and a half days. But the very fact that you'll have an American president sitting through our Republic Day is a huge PR coup by our Prime Minister.
Undoubtedly. As reported in the press, one of the prime ministers in the past has attempted to get a president of the United States, which was turned down. You would recall having been reported in the newspaper this morning. It's been a great coup, undoubtedly. And I think it's really a landmark achievement in foreign policy initiatives of the present Prime Minister. You spoke about the chemistry. But look at the way the chemistry has changed the moment he got such a huge mandate to form a government here. Here is a gentleman who was denied visa for so many years, and here is a gentleman who was a chief guest of the White House, and the President of the United States taking a walk with him at Martin Luther's memorial. And I see something like that happening at Rajghat again this morning. Let's see what happens. But the fact is this, that the personal chemistry is really working in achieving our national objectives, which I think is a great take. And as far as the Republic Day is concerned, this is the first American president who is getting this opportunity. Although about 4 or 5 presidents have visited, one of them visited only for 1 day, Nixon. Here is a president who is visiting for the second time and is spending, well, he was scheduled to spend 3 days in India, but curtailed to 2 days now for reasons.
But Ajay, how much of a difference can personal chemistry make in the India-United States relationship?
That's absolutely critical. You know, for those of our viewers with a sense of history, 15 years ago in 2000, was it even conceivable that a United States president would be sitting on Rajpath watching the Republic Day parade? That was in the wake of India's nuclear blasts, you remember, when Senator Jesse Helms, one of the patriarchs of the US Congress, was thundering that India needs to face the full weight of American wrath after its nuclear threat. The transfer from there till today is not because of personal chemistry. It's because of a grand shift in global, weight and counterweight. America has this great new rival coming up in our region, China, and India, with its economic growth and so on, has come up as a counterweight. So that is the fundamental shift that is underlying this unfolding sort of American.
And China is very wary of the American president's visit to India. There have been several reports coming out of Beijing which say that, you know, they're looking at this visit with a lot of concern. They're looking very carefully. There's been discussion in India as well about, you know, to what extent can India take the relationship with the United States without antagonizing China, without making it seem as if India is moving on board with the United States in this Asia pivot at the expense of antagonizing China. Do you think that will be a factor as well, General Prasad, that Beijing is watching?
It is certainly a factor. But then both the national interest of America and India are going to take note of it anyhow, but it's not going to be a leading issue. While we have certain amount of relationship with China, both as a result of border dispute and the trade and commerce development with China, we have similar requirements with America. So while everybody is watching this relationship grow, it doesn't mean that there's going to be serious. Yeah, everybody's going to look at it. China is certainly going to keep looking and monitor it very closely. But it is not going to have.
So nobody holds a veto, you're suggesting. We've got some exclusive details. Exclusive details coming in on President Obama's City Fort address on Tuesday, where he will seek to highlight India's true potential. A top US official has told Headlines today that President Obama will speak on how to tap the energy of the people of India and the United States and turn that into positive progress. The president is expected to touch upon the areas of energy, counterterrorism, defense cooperation and economic growth. Obama's address is also likely to focus on the importance of diversity as a democratic value. And while Ajay, the reality is that India and the United States say that they are natural allies, they've never been able to exploit the full potential of this relationship. Do you think that this particular visit will be an important step in trying to change that?
Well, coming back to what you were talking earlier, when he's sitting over there and watching Russian systems roll back, now there's a reason for that. There's a really good reason. Today, even as the United States has done $9 billion worth of defense business, if you look at the Russian figures, they're still $12 to $15 billion. And that is simple because Russia has been providing the kind of high-tech, high-visibility, high-buzz, if I may use the word sexy systems, nuclear technology, a nuclear submarine, cooperation in space launches and so on, that America has been constrained from doing by its technology control laws. So this is what is the key sort of gap between the United States and India, a gap that would have to be bridged for India to say, yes, America is a true partner, America is willing to come out there and give us technology that nobody else is giving us. Until that happens, the Russians are going to have the advantage.
Okay, we'll take a very quick break. We'll return, we'll go across live to the Palam technical area where Air Force One will be touching down in a short while. From now, we'll focus also on what the key agenda for this visit is going to be. That when we come back on the other side of a very quick break. Stay tuned to Headlines.